What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters? Welcome to this late night broadcast where we're going to be talking about the power of vulnerability. I don't really know how long I'm going to be. I just felt the need to come on here, and I was just going to do a recording, but I'm just going to make this as live because I'm just simply recording my voice. So, you know, what times we are in, guys. The reason why I'm making this video is because I'm going to be honest with you all. I admittedly, over the past couple of days, have been in this state of kind of secretly freaking out. And I think a lot of us are like this. I think some people are publicly freaking out. I think people are secretly freaking out. And those of us who are secretly freaking out about what's going on, there is this lack of understanding of the power of vulnerability. I feel what's going on right now, regardless of how many people that it takes out of this particular 3D experience and realm, because I don't think it'll go down as one of the biggest plagues that'll hit us. But I feel like mentally and emotionally, this may very well be the turning point because of this, where we are right now in society, how far we have come in a sense, or fallen, if you want to look at it like that. The sheer amount of communication that we have with each other via the internet and technology, the sheer rapid pace of information that we have in this time is what makes this event that we are all experiencing, this pandemic, such a major fucking issue, and why it is the turning point of humanity. We can't just write this off as a lot of the other ones that happened before. Now, there are many other pandemics that are happening, but this is the pandemic that's going to light up the room and reveal to us things that we have felt, that we bumped into. It's like we've deliberately have kept the light off in the room, and we kept stubbing our toe on this piece of furniture and that piece of furniture. And we knew it was there. And some people were doing things to, try to let us know, hey, this is here. Hey, poverty is here. Okay. Hey, hunger is here. Okay. Trashing our oceans is here. Okay. But we haven't had an event that has shaken the world as we have right now. We haven't. Whether you want to just look at this as something that is, like I said, it might not be like the bubonic plague or whatever like that, but it is something that has engulfed the entire world collective. And maybe it's because of the way that the media is portrayed, that portrays the thing, and maybe there is an element of fear mongering, and maybe there's this element of kind of this over saturated news of all of these different things that are happening in regards to this virus. But I also think that there is an element of underreaction that is actually, we're playing ourselves. We're playing ourselves. And it upsets me because I feel like I'm caught up in it. And I'm not going to lie, I underplayed this. I made a video last week where I had an interaction with a woman at my job. And now it's funny because the restaurant that I work at, we're only doing delivery and to-go orders. So I've been working as a server since 2010, actually longer before that. But outside of the family business, I've been working as a server for 10 years. And now it's pretty much come to a halt. So it's kind of crazy, And of course I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Y'all know that, but still. But I had an interaction with a lady last week, and I felt like she overreacted. And now looking back, I'm like, maybe I underreacted a little bit. Maybe I scoped at this. Maybe I thought I was invincible. I'm not saying I haven't, okay? But I'm saying maybe I thought I was invincible or impervious. Maybe I thought that it was a joke, you know? But for some people, it's not a joke. And I think what this experience that we're going through right now as a collective is going to teach us is that just because something may seem like a joke to us does not mean that is any less of a reality for someone else. People are losing jobs. People are probably going to lose homes. People are losing, most importantly, loved ones. And I feel like a lot of this, and I don't think any particular group of governing bodies in the world have reacted perfectly to what's going on. I don't think so. So hopefully this is like a dress rehearsal and it prepares us for future potential worse outbreaks to happen. I don't want to cast that into the future, but it's possible. It's possible. But I do feel like there is a level of underreaction. I see this mainly with the conscious community, the quote unquote new age spiritual community, the quote unquote, you know, that whole thing. I see it happening where there are individuals, I would almost like to say like 90% of the ones that I've seen are underreacting to this. They're underreacting to it. I'm not saying that any of the things that they've been participating in won't help, burning sage, eating well, exercising, meditating, deep breathing. I'm not saying that any of these things won't help, but we have to come out of ourselves a little bit and consider other people because, like I said, this is the thing where you can be a carrier of it and you can still affect someone even if you don't really get it yourself, but you can still be a carrier of it. So you could be super freaking healthy, but you can still have the thing. That's what's weird about this one, right? It's teaching us of how we actually do impact each other. It's teaching us on how influential we can be on each other, how connected we are. And that's why I think it's really important for even those of us who feel like we may be invulnerable to this, impervious to this, to have the compassion and realize that we too are vulnerable, just like everyone else around us. Like I said last week, I had that conversation with that lady at my job. It honestly really upset me. So much to the point where I had to make a video about it because I thought that she was overreacting to the situation. I ended up deleting that video after a conversation with my dad, and I thought about it. Now looking back, and I'm like, man, maybe I underreacted. Maybe she came down a little bit harsh, whatever, but maybe I underreacted looking back at it. And I find myself as a video over the past week where I would say something and I had a position, and then almost immediately afterwards, I was faced with a flip perspective that made me think deeper about where I was originally at and made me like really seriously question and to rework the way I thought about it and the way I felt about it. And be like, oh wait, maybe there's something more to this. That's happened a few times, more than once over the past week, where I had to go back and be like, oh, I need to edit that. My bad. I want to hold. It's about holding myself accountable, and this is an event that's holding ourselves accountable. I think there are a lot of people out there that want to believe that they are impervious to the anxiety that this thing is causing, to the fear that this thing is causing, to maybe even the sense of powerlessness that this thing is causing, to the sadness, the depression, maybe. But also at the same time, I think there's a lot of beautiful things that are happening. I think that it can bring families together because they're finally spending time with each other. I experienced that earlier today when I was delivering an order. Like I pulled up to the house and I just hear a bunch of laughter. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And maybe these things happen on the norm in that house. I don't know. But there's a potential that there could be more of that because now people are finally at home with their family, with their wife, their husband, their kids, their pets, a lot more than they usually are. At least definitely here in the Western world. It's a little bit different. This time should foster compassion and should show just what truly is important when everything falls away just about. Especially here in the Western world where money freaking rules, the kind of job that you have rules, the kind of car that you drive rules. Can't leave your house, a lot of people. You're not working, you're not really making money unless your job happens to pay you otherwise, which is amazing. It really is. But what's important are the connections that we make to other people and those relationships that we foster. That's what's really important. We are at a major crossroads right now. I wouldn't even say it's really a crossroads. I almost think we're like forced to go into a particular direction at this point. I think it's like we come to this junction and it's like a boulder fell behind us and we can't really go back to from where we came. We can't really go back. All we can do is go forward at this point. At least that's the way that I see it. But there is a power in vulnerability. And I think, today I've admittedly I've had some anxiety today. Most of it was existential anxiety, you know, questioning my own existence, wondering about my own existence, wondering what the purpose of all this is, you know, kind of getting a little nihilistic a little bit there. But at the same time, there's so much beauty and joy and happiness here too. So many things to be grateful for as well. And I have to remind myself of that every day. And I think to those of you, if you happen to be listening to this, if you find yourself not taking this as seriously, kind of scoffing at it, and kind of wondering about the conspiracy maybe behind it, and I wondered about it too. Is this thing real? Was this created in a lab? Is this bioterrorism? I actually think that this thing is a real thing. I do. I think it's a real thing. I think there are some weird things about it and maybe some sort of conspiracy, but I actually do think that this is something that's like I what I think this is, I think that it is something that was almost sort of I think it's real, but I think it was something that was allowed by maybe certain groups of people. Don't quote me on this. But then they realized, oh shit, maybe this thing got I think this might be a bad experiment gone out of hand. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that people are losing loved ones. I know that people aren't taking it seriously. And I feel like if we all did what we're supposed to do during Pisces season, which is to slow the fuck down. Anyways, that's really what you're supposed to do during Pisces season is slow down and recharge for the new year. If we had did that, we would have stopped the spread of this thing. But no, I don't think it's the ego that is doing it. I think it's greed and ego can be an aspect and that can be an aspect. Ego can I guess exemplify an aspect of greed. I think a lot of times those two get confused. I don't think the ego is inherently a bad thing because without the ego, we wouldn't be where we are today. Because the ego is that warrior, I'm going to get it done no matter what kind of energy. And without the ego, our ancestors would not have been able to fend off saber-toothed tigers that were trying to kill them in the past. It's evolving now. And there's still an element that we've created in our society where we've almost created a sort of predator for ourselves. That's not really our predator. And that aspect of our ego is still getting triggered. And it's causing us to gnash out at these so called predators and try and kill them when it was really just our brothers and sisters. And what we're doing is through greed, is we're kind of, fucking each other over. But we actually can create a society because we can. It literally is a mental shift. We actually can create a society that doesn't collapse, but actually slows down at a certain time of year the way nature intended. I believe that the way that nature intended was that there are certain times of the year where everything slows down and it's not about go, 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 build, 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 increase, increase, increase. And for me, I think that that's Pisces season. I think that's right before the spring, where ideally no one would probably work and everyone would be focused on their spirituality and their dreams. That's what I think, anyways. Sun is out in Aries, though, so it's time to spring forward. And how ironic is it that when we're supposed to take action, the action that we're going to take is the action that we should have taken freaking a month ago? It's very weird. It's very ironic. It's almost going to be like we're living this year backwards in a sense, where Aries season is going to be kind of like what Pisces season should have been. And Taurus season might actually be what kind of Aquarius season should have been. Who knows? We'll see how this thing goes. But there's power in vulnerability. So if you're kind of out there and you're feeling impervious, you're feeling invulnerable, you're feeling like, you're trying to put up this whole thing, oh, I have nothing to worry about and stuff like that. And maybe from a health standpoint, you don't. But there's still the mental, emotional aspect, because maybe even you may still be mentally and emotionally stable through all this, But you're still going to be dealing with other people as well, family members, friends. And you're going to need to hold space for these individuals and be compassionate and understanding of their situation, and not trying to just write it off as like, oh, well, if you take this herb, or if you do this, whatever, it's okay to give advice here and there. But at the same time, there is something about holding space for someone and being like, it's okay to not be okay right now. A little bit of fear is not a bad thing. Now, you're not going to hear a lot of spiritual people talk about that, because fear is a very low vibration, right? It's a very low vibration. But if it wasn't for fear, we wouldn't be where we are today. We would have been laughing and smiling as a freaking saber-toothed tiger ate us alive. But there was something primal, inherent, that rose out of the souls of our ancestors that told them when they saw this thing to be afraid and to run away. And eventually we got to the point where we can learn how to kill this thing. So fear can serve us. It's a tool as well. So I'll be the first to say, I'm kind of afraid of what's happening right now. I'm afraid. I'm not necessarily afraid that I'm going to catch it, but I am afraid of the repercussions of it. But what we can do right now is just prepare ourselves to remember to have that unconditional love for ourselves and for other people. We probably honestly just stay home, chill out, relax, rest, recuperate, get into a creative zone at home. We should be so happy that we live in a time to where something like this is possible and we could still connect with each other. Like even if everyone stayed at home for like a few weeks, we can still talk to each other because we have the internet, which is awesome. I mean, that's of course if the power grid doesn't go down, but still, that's freaking amazing. It's really cool. I would say so. And of course, shout out and many blessings to those who are still working, like the doctors and the nurses and the people trying to create these ventilators and all that sort of stuff. They are seriously warriors on the front lines of this thing. Like I said, yes, it may seem just like a enhanced version of the flu, but the flu kills like what, 90,000 people a year, or it can kill upwards of that amount. I mean, that's a lot of fucking people. It really is. And this is supposed to be an enhanced version of that. I think there's power in vulnerability because it does create this sort of essence of innovation within us, but also it creates this essence of gratitude within us. I think that there are a lot of people, at least that I've seen, and it's not everyone, but a vast majority of the people, especially within the new age self-help community, spiritual communities, that are kind of scoffing at this and are trying to write it off. And just because you may write something off in your personal life, and maybe for you personally it doesn't affect you, or maybe even the people that you know. I've been seeing that one too. It's like, it's weird. Nobody I know has this thing. Okay, no one that you know, but there are 7 billion people on this earth. So once again, it comes down to people just being so, I guess I'll say it, self-important. And it's like, oh, if I don't have it and no one I know has it, then why is it a big deal? Well, someone just lost their grandmother, their grandfather, their dad, their mom, their son or their daughter, their aunt or their aunt. Yes, these things happen every day. There are, like I said, there are pandemics that happen every day, and the stuff that was relevant before this. But what is it about this one that's bringing the world to its knees? I think that's what we need to ask ourselves. Is that we can be like, oh, there are other things that kill more and more people, but what is it about this? What is the energetic signature of this one that's bringing the world to its knees the ways that it is? That's what we should be asking ourselves. This is not a numbers game, guys. This is not a numbers game. This is an energetic and vibrational thing. An energetic and vibrational game that we're dealing with. It's not a numbers game. So you can pull out all the numbers and the stats about what other diseases kill more people and stuff. But this is an energetic and vibrational thing. This is something that none of us have really ever seen before. As far as the impact. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, psychologically. We haven't seen anything like this. I pray and just trust that we will all make it through this, and that we come out of this stronger and better for it, and also realize the power of vulnerability and realize that, yes, life is fragile, but it's also very beautiful, something to be grateful for, and something to love and cherish, and to realize that at the end of it all, at the end of the day, after everything falls away, what we have is the connection to other people. And we are how we treat other people. We're not all of these other things. We are how we treat other people. I love you all so much. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Stay safe. And call for your loved ones. And we're going to make it through this, guys. It's going to be okay. And if you're not feeling okay, that's okay too. We got this. Later.